1. Good morning, guys. Okay, what we're going to be doing now, guys, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to have to be working with our cards. And obviously we have 52 cards excluding the jokers. And you'll see I've got all the cards now as images in there. So I can make an instance of any single card that is out of the 52 cards. And I don't want to have to create 52 like we've got here in our GUI. We've got card 1, card 2, card 3. I can't go and create 54 of those. Well, technically you can, but that's bad coding. So what you do is you use an array. But the first step of doing this is you actually create a class. Sorry, not in the package Pac-Man. I want to create it inside the working class map package. Sorry, and you're going to create your manager class. In this case, it would actually make sense to call my manager class a deck, because it's the deck of cards, so it can manage my pack of cards. So if we go finish here, now what we're going to start off by doing is, remember, like with your card class, the top is where we set our attributes. So one of the attributes that we're going to create is we're going to create our actual attributes. We're going to create an array of cards. Now, to achieve this, we would first state what we would make the access modifier. So generally for our attributes we make private. Now we talk about data type. But in this case our data type is actually a class, so it's an object array. Now to indicate that it is an array, you use open brackets, close square brackets. This indicates that this is an array of objects, meaning there is multiple of them. It's not just an individual instance of it. And I am going to call this cards, plural. And now I know you normally do not initialize in here, so I'm actually going to stick to that. I'm not going to initialize in here. But now in our default constructor, we are going to initialize our pack of cards. And we're going to say is equal to new cards. Now we say size 52. Now, here's the thing. Whoop, hello. Here's the thing. In our cards, we said size 52. We are using a limited size because we know there's exactly 52 cards in a deck. Later on, either this term or next term, you will learn at using 1,000. So instead of, or along those lines, but then you have a counter that will keep track where it is. But for now, you can basically take a look, and I like using Excel to try explain what this does. And I'm going to just open up a blank Excel spreadsheet quickly. When you have an array, you're basically saying 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down to 54. So I'm creating 54 positions, sorry, 53, because remember, I say if it's 53, is because it's 0 through to 53 positions on there. Now each individual block can have information. Each individual block will have information about the suite, the suit, the value, and the picture. Every single position would have that. So position 0 would have that, position 1 would have it, position 2 would have it, and so forth as you go down it. Now, you would generally also create a counter. And it's num cards. And this means how many cards have you currently initialized. And that would be the counter. And right now, we have not individual places. We've done this. We've created 54 pointers. But we haven't actually created 54 objects. All we have done is created pointers or positions that know that 54 objects exist, but they actually don't exist yet because they haven't been initialized. So we need to now initialize. So it's basically like declaring, like we've done here, card 1, card 2, card 3, but 52 times. So instead of doing that, you're going to now go and you're going to have to initialize every single one. But we're going to start off by the fact that we haven't initialized any cards, so I'm going to set it up as 0. And I'm going to create another method here, public void, which just means it's an action method. It's not returning anything. So it is doing something. We are going to say populate, or init means initialize cards. So we're going to create a method called Initialize Cards, which job is to initialize our cards. So I'm just going to go init cards. Now on here, we want to initialize every single one of our cards. Now, I'm going to do this in a little bit strange way, but I'm going to explain it as I go through. First of all, we have different suites. And our suites that we have is we have hearts, we have clubs, we have spades, and we have diamonds. Okay? And I'll explain why I've done that just now. Now, every single suit has How many cards in every single suit? 13, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so every single suit has 13 cards. So firstly, I want to loop through myself. I've got forward tab. Remember the shortcut for that is FOR, and then you press tab. So just do that again for if you're not sure of it. FOR, tab, and it'll do it. I want 0 while I is less than 4. So you guys all get that that will loop 4 times. Now, if I go CHR SUIT, I'm going to say temp SUIT just because we will be sending it through. Actually, I can even just go suite. There's no suite in here. Okay, so character suite is equal to my suites dot. Now we use a method. String is actually a class. So there's methods that we can use inside it. So it's an object. The suite is an object, and I can call the methods in it. And what I want is I want character at position R, meaning if you take a look at my string of suites here, I've got HCSD. This is position 0 in the string. This is position 1 in the string, 2, 3. So R starts at 0. So the first time this loops, the character is going to be H. The next time it loops, it's going to be C. The next time it loops, it's going to be that. So to just show you this, I'm going to say suite full colon space, and I'm going to actually just print out the suite for you. And I'm going to have to call this from inside my GUI. So inside my GUI, instead of doing this, we're going to delete this for now. Delete. We're going to delete all of this because we're not going to be working with this at the moment. And I'm going to delete the cards here because we're not going to create this cards. We are just going to create an instance of our deck. So now instead of creating an instance of the card, we're going to create an instance of our deck. Provide private deck dman deck manager. And then we will initialize our dman is equal to new deck. So we're now going to initialize our deck inside here. So we'll call our default constructor, which will call our init cards, which will display it now. It's just going to print to the command line, so I'm not going to drag across the GUI onto the screen. But you'll see there it says suite H, C, S, and D. So it's separated the H and the C in the loop. So the loop is going to loop 4 times, and it's going to separate the H, the C, the S, the D. So I've shown you that that does work. Now the next thing, for every single one, we are wanting to loop 13 times. But now realize, according to, if you look at my images, ace I haven't set as 0, I've set ace as 1. So 1 is my ace. So I've technically, in this case, I won't want to, where's my, okay, whatever. In this case, I won't want to be working with my, with 0, the first placeholder is actually 1. So how I'm going to deal with that is now when I create my card, so I'm going to firstly say cards, position, num cards. So num cards is my counter to show which card I am on, and I am going to say is equal to new card. Now if we look, we have multiple constructors. Now I don't need to use my default constructor. I don't need to use, what I have currently is I have my suit and I have my value. But I do not have a constructor that works with only suits and values. So what I suggest I do now is I am going to create myself in my card a constructor for suit and value. So now I'm going to create a second partially parameterized constructor. It doesn't take long. It's easier to do it like this than to try figure out another way. So I'm just going to go Alt Insert, create a, nope, not that, Control Z, I don't want to create a logger. Alt Insert, create a constructor, and I want suit and value. And remember, our string will automatically, if it's a blank in our string, we will, so it says here, if suit is equal to C, blah, 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 blah. This is the toString, so it actually just returns, sorry, I'll get picture, sorry, if it's blank, it will automatically take it from the value and the suite, which is what we want. So our picture was not going to be used in our case, we're going to leave that alone. So now, we're going to initialize our cards, position num cards, which is where we are going to be incrementing through our different positions in our cards. We're going to say is equal to new card, and we are now going to use this one, which is going to send through the suit, and not J, it's going to send through the value. Yeah, it is J. So the J, but it's J plus 1. Because we don't start at 0, and there we start at 1. So if I go semicolon, this should initialize every single one of my cards. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to now show you, so my init cards should work. The next thing I'm going to do now is I am going to create a toString method, which means it will represent a text representation of the class. I'm going to untick both of these, and I'm just going to return blank. Now when you do a toString of a manager class, or of an array, you first create a blank string, because this is going to have a red underline, because it has a red underline here, because it says I expect to return a string, but I'm not returning a string. So I start off by just creating a blank data type of what I expect to be returning, if I can spell ever. And then from there, we are then going to loop through our array. To loop through our array, we go for, and then we're going to loop up until num cards, which we know is going to be 53. So it will loop, 52 cards on there, and we are going to now say s_all plus equals our cards at position I. So I'm referring to each individual positions. So what I've done here, when I say like I'm saying position 0, refer to this card. When I say position 1, refer to that card. When I say position 2, it refers to that card. And it loops down as you go along. Now, on here, well, ignore that, that's the grade 10 stuff that we're busy with. On here, if I go now and I say dot toString, I means I'm referring to that specific card's toString. So our specific card's toString is going to say, if we go up to the toString here, it's going to say value of whatever suit it is, and that is what it will display. So now in my GUI, I'm going to update my design of the GUI. We're no longer doing this whole dual pane thing. We're actually just going to be dealing with one individual. So I'm going to change my grid layout from being columns 1 row 1, that's fine. And I'm going to add a text area here. So text area again, so we're going backwards a bit again. We had a text area to begin with. So I'm going to add a text area here. And now all I'm going to do is I just want to display all cards. So I'm going to delete these two buttons, and I'm just going to rename this button to display all. Now on my display all, I just want to display every single card that is in here. So I now press, I go back to my source code. I need to make sure that I'm just going to create a method called public void display all. Now remember, what I haven't done, and this is what you should get into the habit of doing, anything that you need to refer to in code, please name it. So I'm going to call this txt display, and inside the txt display I'm going to now set it to be txt display dot set text to be my dman dot toString. What that means is that it will return the string or the toString value of that. Now remember to code to make that button to actually play the method you want it to play. And now when I press play, I'm going to move this onto the screen that you guys can see. I'm going to close out the instance. And now when I press display all, nothing happens. Wahaha. Okay, so troubleshooting, always fun. Okay, so when I press display all, nothing is happening. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out why. Hopefully maybe you guys at home have already seen me making a stupid mistake along the way. Oh, you know what I haven't done? I haven't incremented num cards. So after you add on there, you must increment. Sorry, I'm sure some of you picked that up when I went. So I'm adding to position 0, then I need to increment to say I'm adding to position 1. When I go to 1, I then need to increment to say I'm adding to position 2. So you need to troubleshoot, you follow, all you do is when you're running troubleshoot, you follow your method back. You go, okay, when I click this button, what do I call? So you double click on the button. Okay, it calls the method display. So you press control and you click on that. So you hold in the control key, you click on that, it'll take you back here. Okay, this will call this. This will then set the text to be toString of that. I go back here. Oh look, num cards is there. That goes through and loops the cards. So it's something to do with looping through the cards and loops up to num cards. I just happen to then see above that this was num cards here and then gone through. So sometimes you just have to look through your methods, but often you'll find it when going through the path that the computer goes through. Alright. So I press play now. Let's do this again. Let's hope this works first time now. So if I press play, I'm going to maximize this. I tap display all. You'll see there that it displays all of them, but it's all in one line. It looks ugly as anything. So I'm going to quickly add something which I didn't do in my toString, and that is a \n. Oh, hello. So I'm going to add a \n, and what that will do is they'll just backslash n as your enter character. I think we did go through that last year. But now when you run it, play it, display all, you'll see there 1 of hearts, 2 of hearts, 30 and so forth, and it's gone through. Now that's sweet, but we don't have, we still want to see images, we want to see that kind of stuff. So the last part of this section of this video is where now I'm going to work with, we've initialized our deck, but now I actually want to get a random card returned. So in other words, in my GUI design, I'm going to add a button, and I'm going to say random card. Now, I'll come in. So this should return a random card. We're live streaming a YouTube video at the moment. Is it urgent? Okay. Alright, so what will be happening is when I tap random card, I will just, to start off with, I just want to display the random card, then I'll separate it so that I will actually display a random card on the left hand side. So we first want to get the random card working, so when I tap random card, I want to display a random card. So in my method here, now here's something quite cool. Now this is a bit more advanced object orientation here. Is I am not going to return a string, I am actually going to return a whole card. So instead of returning just the string of a card, I'm going to actually return a whole card, and I'm going to say get random card. Now, on this get random card, it says that it should return a card. So we want to return a random position of the card. Now, for those at Ehrenbridge that are using this, I've got on the IT General Resources shared code segments, and in the code segments there's a random text here, and this random text just contains code to create a method that is a random generator. I could recode it every single time, but why? So this is a random generating code. You guys can look at the code if you want to figure out what I'm doing there. It's not that complicated. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. But I'm going to create that method. Now you'll notice I make it static, and that just means I can actually call it from any class. So I don't actually only have to be in this class to use the random. I can call it from anywhere, and it's not specific to any instance. So this will get a number between min and max. So what I can do is I'm going to now do this quite directly. I'm going to return a card from cards and position get random, and I'm going to say between positions 0 and 51, which means I'm going to return a card from positions 0 and 51 in my deck. So this is why object orientation is so handy. This is going to return me a random number. So this math.round.math.random this is just will return a random value, just to show you the rest of it there, between minimum and maximum. Then it will return that card that is at that position between those random values. Now, I know this sounds odd, however, that doesn't sound odd, but I am now going to go into my GUI class, and we are going to code the random card method. So I'm going to create a display random. I'm then going to create that method. So I'm just going to rename one of these methods because we don't use these anymore. So let me just delete these. I'm going to call display random. Now in this display random, I am going to change the display to be set text, and I'm going to say dman dot get random card dot toString. So meaning I'm going to get the random card and I'm going to display the toString from that card. Strangely, you'll notice that it won't even throw up an error if I just do this. And oh, it does, okay. Never mind. Sometimes it doesn't because it just automatically calls the toString in there. Alright, so I'm saying get a random card and display a toString from that in the display that's going on there. So now when I press play here, you'll notice there that okay, so if I say display all, it should display all of them, and when I press random card, it will display 13 of spades. Click again, 1 of clubs, 5 of clubs, 11 of spades. So you get the idea. Every single time I click the random card, a random card is dealt or handed out. So quite quickly, we already have a random card generator, and we've done it quite quickly, and purely because we've been following object-oriented principles. Object-oriented principles makes your coding life sweet. Obviously, when you get to more complex problems, it becomes difficult to design your object orientation. But if you design it correctly, you can really code really cool projects quite easily and have it so it functions quite nicely. So now we've got a deck here, which is now getting a random card, but now what we want to do is instead of displaying the text, we actually want to display the physical card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my grid layout to be 2 columns so that I can add an extra item to it. And I'm going to add into that panel, the extra item I'm going to add is a label. And that label, I'm going to change variable name saying LBL card. So we're going to display the random card there, edit text. And we actually had already seen how to set the icon of the card by going to the card images, and we set it to, I think, so there was one called blank, but let's just do this for now, it doesn't matter. So we've now put the random card in there. We could even change our layout so that it would be the perfect size for the card, but then you just make it not editable, but for now, whatever. And we went into the source and we went down here. I don't remember this code up by heart, I never do. So I'm just going to look for where it says set icon. Here's the LBL card set icon. I'm going to copy this across. Now in the card area, here, instead of display random, instead of doing that, I am going to now Control V that, and instead of 10c.jpg, I'm going to say plus my deck manager dot get random card dot get picture. So now I'm calling the method from my random card of picture to set the icon of it. I've done this all in one line and realized I could have separated it and said first string picture, and then I could have said is equal to, or I could have said card rand is equal to dman dot get random card semicolon string picture is equal to rand dot get picture. Then I could have gone set icon is equal to is equal to picture instead of all of that. But you can do it all in one line, depending on how you like seeing it. If you don't like doing it like this, really it's not a good way to do it like this. If anything, it makes it more complicated for people to see what it's doing. It's just the way I like coding. So I don't think if you want to do it separately, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. Well, it's not really a difference, but depending on how you look at it, alright. So now let's run it, let's see if it works. So I press play. It starts off with my 10, but that's because I set that as just the default. I should technically put the back of a card as the default. Ooh, fail! Null pointer exception. And we had the same null pointer exception last time because I think I forgot something, a dot or something like that in a JPEG picture. So that means what I was doing, I need to do now. So it is obviously a good thing to separate it. So string picture. Oh, picture is equal to yeah, so let's just first go picture is equal to I forgot what I was doing. Picture is equal to dman dot get random card dot get picture semicolon. I am then going to sort my picture so I can see what it is actually returning. So I want to see what is happening here, why this isn't working. Because it should work, but it isn't. So something is going pear-shaped. Oh, and I already know what the word is going pear-shaped. You see in this constructor here, so in thinking about this, I remembered in my card constructor, I created a new constructor so I could get this working. I created this constructor here. Now you'll notice, as far as picture is concerned, did I initialize it to be blank? No, I didn't. I just initialized it to be nothing. So in other words, it was null. So in my get picture, here, it doesn't equal that. It is nothing. So I would actually even add here. Now this is an OR. So that is the equivalent of, I'm just going to put brackets here. This is equal to OR. So that is the same thing. So that means OR picture equals to null. Meaning that if it is equal to blank or null. Now technically, it was my bad coding for not initializing every single object, so that's what we like doing in the school level anyway, maybe not in corporate, not so much. But if it is equal to null, then, or it is equal to nothing, then update the picture so it's correct. So now if we run it, it should work, which means I fixed it before even running the test here, but I just wanted to show you the test anyway. So do I have faith in myself? Let's just comment this code out and then we'll see. Alright, so now I'm just going to play, and I'll have the card over here. Random card, fail. So I should not have confidence in myself. Yeah, so obviously something else is going wrong, so I do need to actually display this here. So I did do something wrong. Alright, so let's try this again. You see, I make mistakes on purpose so that you guys can see how to problem solve. Alright, now you click random card, it comes up with an error. Now beforehand it should have, it should have at least displayed to me the fact that a card was there, but it's saying there null pointer exception. Okay, so null pointer exception is occurring before it even gets to that printout. So it's not actually here where the null pointer is happening. It's the fact that the picture. Okay, so this isn't helping us for now. But if you go to our outputs, let's just close it so it's not running anymore. Let's go to output here. It says there card. So during this if statement, picture is not initialized. Oh, it's because it's equal to null. So I was just trying to check if it's equal to that before it equals to that. So this is actually a bit of a complicated issue to resolve. Or basically what it means is that it's trying to check that it is that it's equal to blank before it's checked if it's null. Meaning that I'm trying to say, is the picture equal to nothing, blank, but it hasn't been initialized. So it's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. There's nothing that exists there, and the computer freezes. So if I change the audio and I first check whether it's null, now this is quite interesting because now you get an exclusive OR, and different programming languages handle OR differently. If this is true, and there's an OR here, it won't even bother looking at the second one. But now you get another type of OR where it means you must check the other one. And I think that if I'm correct, it's got something to do, add a character in front of it to change which kind of OR it is. Now this is only stuff you will probably deal with in university with your different types of OR statements where it will look at both or it will only look at one. But right now this has become true, so I'll check it there. This is a lovely example actually of it. I'm happy we came across it. But so now I didn't check that first. So if this resolves it, means that it will check this first, and only if this is false will it check that. So let's run this and see if this works now. I'm happy we came across that problem. It's a cool problem. So now it's sweet, it works. So now when I tap it, you'll notice there that it changes now to 3 of spades, 3 of diamonds, 3 of 1 of diamonds. What is quite interesting is it's displaying picture multiple times when we click on the random card. But, yeah, interesting. Okay, so when I tap random card, it'll change between different cards. That's the end of this video. I do think it was quite cool that we learned that the OR statement will check the first one, and if that's true, it will work on. And I hope you guys understood that. And I'm actually going to repeat or go over that just a little bit more, just to make sure you guys understand what I'm referring to here. And I do think it's quite a cool thing to look at. But if you have not initialized the picture, so here I've initialized picture, but on this constructor I did not initialize picture, meaning that it did not exist. Only the pointer is there, but it doesn't point at anything. So what was happening is in my get picture, where I'm getting the picture value, it was checking this first, which means it was trying to see that picture, which should exist, is the context of it is blank. But it tried to do that. Now if it doesn't point to anything, it gets it's like it's not pointing to anything. I don't know what to do. It freaks me out, and it had an error. But now I am first checking. Now I know there's a way to check both OR conditions in Java. There's actually a technical term for it. It's bugging me that I don't know. Okay, so now there is a way to include both of them. They're actually not going to show us here. I know there is an indication to it, and perhaps in a later video I'll show you, but there's a way that you can do different OR statements in Java. Let me just try to see if I can pick up with that. But it's worth Googling to find out what the it is definitely worth going through. There's the equal equals and not equals, blah blah blah. Okay, it just goes through that. I'm not going to go waste your time within this video. I'll find out the answer, figure out the answer. One of you guys can comment section below, please. It'll be pretty cool to show us what the one where it will actually check both statements all times. So even if what that one is true, it will still perform that action there. And sometimes it could matter because this dot equals might increment something or do something that you want to occur. So you might want it, even if this one is true, to still execute this statement. And there's a way to stipulate that in Java code. I just don't know what it is at the moment. But yeah, goodbye for this video. Stop. Goodbye, guys. For the video. Okay.